We are back. Welcome back to Weather for Weather Geeks on this Tuesday evening. It's February 20th, 2024, and another sunny, beautiful February afternoon across the valley. The 20th day of February, a little more than a week to go in the month, and this is going to go into the record books as one of the warmest Februaries on record, just like last year. Temperatures, of course, have been cold the last couple of mornings. We've seen some upper teens to around 20 each of the last couple of mornings, but the afternoons have been getting warmer since we bottomed out at 28 for a daytime high on Saturday. We had 49 out there today, and for the month as a whole, not factoring in today's numbers, we're running 6.9 degrees above the average. Factoring in today's numbers, we may be right around 7 as we speak, and we'll probably see that number increase in the coming days. February 20th, kind of an eventful day in recent history, specifically last decade. Now, our averages on today's date are 38 and 22. The records, though, that's the story. The record high, 73 degrees back in 2018. The record low a few years earlier in 2015, 16 below zero in the middle of that really harsh, cold February of 2015. Now, that 89-degree difference between the record low and the record high, that's the biggest one-day difference of any calendar day in our area. So February 20th, we've seen some extremes in relatively recent memory on both ends of the spectrum. But yeah, lots of sunshine out there today. The crystal clear skies gave us a nice high-resolution satellite picture of the region today, and all this white, of course, is snow cover. And, you know, your eye is certainly drawn to our south. We talked about this last evening, this kind of rogue band of heavy snow that set up in Friday's storm and dumped some localized, double-digit amounts from the far northern suburbs of Columbus over towards the Steubenville area. North and south of that, much less snow. In fact, most of the snow is gone. Where we did not have that heavy band on Friday. Also of note, across the region, a nice view of Lake Erie, and of course, there's absolutely no ice on Lake Erie, and I don't expect any ice formation other than just traces over the next several days, because the nights won't be quite as cold, and certainly the days will be plenty mild over the next week or so. Pretty quiet across most of the country, with the exception of the west. Flood warnings or flood watches are out for just about all of Southern California outside of the deserts. For the Central Valley of California, heading up towards San Francisco as well. It is pouring in LA this evening. And of course, in the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada mountains, it is heavy snow. Winter storm warnings out for portions of the central and southern Sierras, and the hilly areas outside of LA and outside of Vegas also under winter weather advisories. All the action is out there. We'll have another quiet day locally on Wednesday. There'll be a few more clouds in the sky Wednesday compared to the last couple of days, which have been pretty much cloud-free for a lot of the afternoon. We'll have a few more clouds, but with a southwesterly wind, we'll have no trouble getting into the mid-50s on Wednesday. And then we have one rainy day to talk about. That is Thursday. We've upped our precipitation chances in our ongoing forecast to 100%. And while it's not going to rain every minute of the day, we'll probably see at least a scattering of showers in the morning and pretty consistent rain towards the end of the afternoon into early in the evening Thursday night, and then the rain will taper off overnight. Here's our next cold front, and this is the front that will usher in the air mass that will give us some fairly typical February weather for about 24 hours, Friday night through Saturday night, and then the warm-up kicks back in by Sunday. This will be a free car wash on Thursday and into Thursday night. Our computer model spread here between a half an inch and an inch worth of rain as a general rule. I think I kind of lean closer to that half inch, but half an inch, 3/4 of an inch worth of rain Thursday into Thursday night. Leave your car out and get some of that salt off your cars. I certainly know that my car needs a bath at this point. All right, you know that if you've been paying attention to forecasts lately, that the longer range is looking mild, but also it looks pretty active. The 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, and rolling this forward to the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, both favoring wetter than average conditions in our part of the country and a lot of the eastern U.S. as well. All right, I told you last evening we'd talk a little bit about the longer range and what I'm looking at when I start formulating our seasonal outlook for the spring season. That would be March, April, and May. What we're looking at here is the precipitation composite of all the early analog years that I'm looking at, years that have similar conditions to this year, and that basically means a fading El Nino with a few other factors as well. But the main driver of this map is years in which we had a strong El Nino that was fading as we got into the spring. Now, when you put together 1952, 1954, 1966, 1969, 1973, 2007, and 2010, you come up with a map that looks kind of like this. Now, you'll notice a couple of big El Nino years are not on this map, and that would include 1983, 1998. That's because there were some different ocean conditions aside from the El Nino region those years, but these years hold the most similarities to this year, I think. And you'll notice the overall idea here is a dry risk across the Ohio Valley and probably parts of the Mississippi Valley during the spring season. Now, there are some years in this analog set that were drier than others. Some years had plentiful precipitation, but when you kind of throw them all in the hopper and get an average, this is the map you get as far as precipitation. Some wetter risks lingering. El Nino kind of still exerting its influence down across the deep south. That's a typical map for El Nino, especially in the cold weather season. Also looks pretty dry on this map in the northwestern U.S. into the northern Rockies. Is this going to be this spring's answer key? Well, I don't know that just yet, but I'm starting to really formulate my thoughts on the spring season, put together some analogs, put together some graphics, and this is one of the first things I'm looking at because springtime precipitation is important for agricultural interests. When will this year's planting season begin? That sort of thing. So we talk more about total precipitation when it comes to the spring and summer, of course, than any other time of the year. It's really, really important for a segment of our population. So that's just one of the early things I'm looking at. We'll have a more complete spring forecast, of course, at the end of February, start of March. We'll talk about some temperature analogs on future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for watching tonight on this Tuesday. I'll see you right back here, same time, same place on Wednesday.